Hey guys, and welcome to Mirage for Noobs. Now, Mirage is another one of the most popular maps in CSGO, played quite a bit, both competitively and casual, and personally is one of my favorite maps. It's been around for quite a while, but Valve has sort of made their, I guess, new iteration of it here, and this is the one that's played most often now. But it's, again, one of the most popular maps, and it's one of the maps that you should probably learn if you want to start getting into competitive quite a bit more. As with the other videos in this series, I'll be covering callout locations, basic camping spots where you might find people sitting, and some very basic strats for taking sites to help you be successful on both sides. So let's hop right into it and get to those callout locations. So starting off here, we are in CT spawn, where the CTs will be sort of, well, spawning. This is where they will start. From here, they can go either left or right. The reason it's pretty CT-sided, well, not pretty CT-sided, but kind of CT-sided, is because of the quick rotation times here. But if we go to the left here, we will head towards B. And you'll notice this little vent here. It's not really a vent, it's just kind of like a hole. You can come into this hole here. And this is known as window room / jungle. Like all up in this area here, from here, here, and sort of like into this area here is known as jungle. Then you have window room here, which peeks out into mid. From jungle, you can go to A site, but we will cover A site in a little bit. If you come right into here, this is known as either market or kitchen. Most people will call it kitchen because that's what it used to be in some of the older maps, but as you can see, it's more of a market now. So if you do hear market or kitchen being uttered in a single match, well, it's the same thing. It's this area here. Right here is just called door. You know, market door, then market window, or kitchen window, kitchen door. And this itself is B site. As you can see, it's got a fair amount of cover here. This is usually the default planting spot, either here or right here, because it has cover from pretty much everywhere, except for apartments. And again, this has cover from pretty much everywhere, except for right over there. This is known as bench, well, because there's a bench here. And fun fact, let's actually turn on impacts. SV show impacts 1. Oh. You can actually shoot through this little wall here, so if you are camping behind here and you start getting shot, well, there you go. It's a good area to kind of sit and spam, just in case there is somebody sitting behind there. If you come right up over here, this is known as van. A lot of times a CT will be sitting here camping, either sitting right here, or right down in here, on top of the van, etc., etc. And right over here we have this little half box thing. This is known as E-box or half stack. A lot of times a CT will be sitting here. Pretty dangerous spot to sit, but sometimes it will be there. If we come right up here, you can actually jump up these little boxes and onto the van and run into here, and this is known as B apartments or apartments. A lot of times you will see terrorists rushing here. And this is called stove. Sometimes people call it kitchen or apartment kitchen. Pretty self-explanatory name. You can make pancakes here if you would like. We come right out here. This is just known as stairs, and it leads into what is called underpass. People will usually say underpass stairs or apartment stairs sometimes, but it leads into underpass right over here. And loops all the way back around into here and empties right out here into T-spawn. And as you can see from T-spawn, you can go to A or B. If we come right around here, this is going to be known as palace. And then these little pillars here are simply known as pillars. A lot of times terrorists will rush through here to take A. Most times, actually. Through here and through right down here, which is known as Tetris in this area. This little stack here. It's called Tetris. And then down here is T-ramp or T-stairs. Then on top of it, right up here, sometimes people call it T-roof. Sometimes I've heard that called a few times. It's right up here. It's called T-roof sometimes. Sometimes people just say, you know, above T-ramp. It's pretty hard to push this because if there's somebody sitting up here, they can see your legs before you can see them. So it's pretty risky to rush it like that. But again, this is Tetris. What is this? Scaffolding, excuse me. Had a brain fart here. Scaffolding or balcony, sometimes people call it. On this map, there's like a couple different names for a lot of this stuff, but underneath balcony is simply what this is called. This is Firebox. This is known as Triple Stack. This right here is known as Danger Box, I believe. Here, some people just call it CT spawn box, sort of. I know that's like this, but they call it the box, sort of, by CT spawn. But I believe the official name is Danger Box. And then, of course, right here, CT spawn, CT ramp, CT stairs. This is known as Ticket Booth, because, well, it's a ticket booth. And from here, this is known as Sandwich, because you're sandwiched in between these two stacks here, between Tetris and stairs. And again, this is known simply as stairs. Some people call it connector stairs. Or E-stairs, excuse me. These are connector stairs. This is known as connector. Empties right out into mid. Couple hiding spots right in here. This is wall bangle, by the way. They actually just added this a few updates ago, so you can actually shoot any CT sitting there, any T sitting there. And again, we come right out here into underpass and under window here. And we come right up here towards middle. This is known as chair. This is known as, sometimes people call it cart, sometimes people just call it mid boxes. So if you hear cart, it's because there's a cart here. I didn't know you could even get up here without a boost. Anyways, some people just call it boxes, mid boxes, top of mid. And again, comes back right around here. There's a ladder right there. So if we come right up here, this is known as catwalk. Sometimes people call it short. It empties right over here into A site. Right here is ladder room with a newly added boiler. And ladder room comes right into window room here and into jungle. You can actually crouch through it. But we will not do that quite yet. And again, short slash cat. And people usually call this cat corner. Just because it's like the corner of cat here. A lot of times the CT will sit here or terrace when defending it. And that's basically all the callouts here for Mirage. If I did miss anything, definitely let me know in the comments so I can put an annotation while I run by it. But yeah. So now we will hop into basic camping locations. So starting right out here in CT spawn, sometimes when a terrorist is watching for rotators from B site, if they plant the bomb here, they'll sit right here. Or even in this little nook here. Just waiting and listening for CTs. Pop them while they're running. A lot of times, someone will sit here on stairs to watch any CTs coming from here or any Ts. Again, they can peek kitchen there. Sometimes you'll see somebody sitting up here defending the bomb site or CT waiting. A lot of times behind here. You can actually... Come on, get up there, Jake, you dummy. There we go. You can actually throw a smoke kind of like this. And if you throw it properly, you can actually see over the smoke. I didn't throw it properly, but you can see a smoke, through the smoke, excuse me, on top of ticket booth here. But a lot of times you'll see a CT up there. A lot of times a CT will hold from here. They'll throw a smoke into T ramp there. And then they'll hold it right here. So they can peek around and they can catch Tetris. You gotta be careful of this spot here. CT will be sitting here. If it's an eco round, then they'll throw a smoke here and try and ninja you, and then they'll pop a flash down and try and ninja. You gotta be careful of that. Always check that corner when you're pushing as a T, or if you're retaking the site as a CT, if you're coming from over here. But a lot of times, a CT will play like right here. You can pick someone from there, you can get someone from there, and you have a lot of cover. You can kind of toy with the terrorist. And again, that spot. Behind Firebox, a lot of times you'll see a player sitting. You can watch Tetris in here and get some cover. You can actually, I believe, wallbang. Yeah, you can wallbang through Firebox, so it's not the best spot to sit. And if you do sit there, you know, make sure you're sitting like right here. And even then, You know, if they shoot it from like this angle or something, they can still hit you. So you gotta be careful if you're sitting here. Sometimes you'll see a CT sitting up here. It's pretty dangerous because you're kind of trapped there. You really got to hit your shots. But if you can see a terrorist kind of, sort of jumping up there, you can spam through here like that and probably pick them through Tetris. If you're feeling ballsy as a CT, you can camp right here and try and catch them as they push out. Especially if you hear them coming and you just kind of like... Oh, don't do that. You just kind of like throw a flash like this, duck. Once it pops, just sort of spray them down. Quite often you'll see a CT either sitting here like this or sitting here like this. The reason you want to look at the wall is because a lot of times your gun will stick out, especially if you're using the M4A1S. But a lot of times you'll see a CT sitting here or even right here. So when you peek them, you can spray them down. Peek Tetris here. You might even see a CT sitting here. Not very often, but they'll try and catch you off guard. And even sometimes if this is smoked out, a CT will play like right here. Or they'll be cheeky and sort of sneak into here like this. Try to catch you off guard. So if you see a ton of flashes going over the top here, which you can do, be wary of CTs rushing you. A lot of times a CT will play on top of stairs here. Like right up here, so they can get a view of Palace and then support anybody like so. And sometimes a CT will play in connector here, here, or here. Try to pick somebody from mid. A lot of times, there's a lot of places you can hide on this map, basically, is what I'm saying, but CT will play either here. Not often here, unless they know they're coming from connector, so they can kind of duck behind cover and then spray. Or they'll play from here. If you have a... Give weapon... Op. If you have an op, you can actually see a little tiny crack there. You can actually pick a terrorist that's pushing. And of course, a CT will play in window, trying to pick mid with an op. If we come over into a palace here, sometimes you'll see a terrorist camping here, defending the bomb. Actually, quite often. Not sometimes, but pretty often, especially if they plant it right here. Default plant position, by the way, is right over here. A lot of times you'll see a terrorist plant right here, because it's fairly safe. You're only really exposed from CT. I mean, it's assuming you're taking the site from here. Unless you do a long rotate, or they'll plant right here. If they don't want to expose themselves to come out here, they'll plant right here. So there's kind of like two default positions, right here, right here. But if you are retaking the site, be wary of any terrorist playing in palace here. And then, of course, you can camp anywhere in here, really. Come right out here. A lot of times, people come here to save their weapons. You'll see terrorists camping right up on top here. Sometimes even on top of this one, too. Not very often, though. I mean, in spawn is fairly standard to save your weapon. A lot of times they'll come here. You can pick anybody coming. You can see the top of their heads. Again, another good save position here. Although your gun might stick out a little bit. You gotta be wary of that. Your gun sticks out further than you would think. Sometimes people... I never noticed those rocks. But anyway, sometimes people sit here. Even up on top here. If they're expecting a CT to rotate. Anywhere up top behind these boxes here. Oh, I'm stuck in the ground. Or behind this little fountain thing. Or at chair. Or even right here. And again, sometimes the terrorists will be sitting right down here. You can actually boost up here with another player if you come through underpass. And again, underpass is a place people like to hide, especially like right in this corner here. And if we come up onto cat here, sometimes you'll see a CT playing here, or even right up on top here. You know, they can spray down and they can retreat to window to support the guy playing window. CT will play anywhere here on cat, basically, in this area. It's a good idea to smoke them off if you're going to be pushing through connector. That way they can't just like pick you as you're pushing through. And again, sometimes the CT will be sitting here. Good thing about this position is you can get anybody coming cat You can also support the guy playing site with a lot of cover here. I believe this is wall bangable. Yep. And again, here, behind this area. Anywhere here on site. Gotta be kind of careful of this spot here. They can't really see you that well, but they can get enough information to say, oh, there's coming apartments, I'm gonna fall back. And then I can spray. Anywhere here on site, a CT might play. Gotta be careful of this boost box. You can actually get on here with another player. Try a ninja it. They'll throw a smoke down, especially if you're planting right here. They'll just go, boop. Oh. There's your ninja. Again, a lot of times the CT will play right underneath here. They'll go like this. Trying to get information. You'll see them jumping up there, and then they can fall back. Pop you right in the head, or they'll play on top of this barrel. Or even on top of the van. Sometimes right on top of these boxes here. An op. And again, behind the bench here. Or again, anywhere behind these things. And of course, sometimes over here. And in market. They'll hold it from here, getting people from van or from the window. You gotta be careful if you're retaking the site. A lot of times a terrorist will sit up here, trying to get the jump on you. So you gotta be careful of this little cheeky spot. It's pretty hard to see them, especially if they're turned like this. So you gotta be careful of that. That's almost it, I guess, for camping spots. Not too many camping spots, but you gotta be, wary of your locations. And sometimes I'll camp right out here. Sometimes I'll camp right here. See someone holding exit frags. And pretty much the final location is anywhere in the apartments here. They might be standing right here waiting for you to rotate from there. Or even over here. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're pushing as a terrorist, sometimes you'll see a CT sitting here. And if they're patient, they'll wait for all 5 of you to push past, and then they'll just mow you down. That's if they're patient. I mean, a lot of times people they'll see you with the first guy and go, oh, and then die pretty quickly. But yeah, you gotta be careful of that spot if you're pushing as a terrorist, because again, the first teammate out, if he doesn't check, you're gonna be like, oh, there's probably nobody there. I'm not gonna expect it. My teammate should have checked that. So you gotta be careful. Don't always trust your teammates, but again, people will save their weapons in here a lot of times. Sit right back here, or on top here. Anywhere over in this area. Again, underpass. Over by these chairs. Or even over in here. So that covers the camping spot portion of this video. Now we go over some basic strategies for taking sites as a terrorist. Okay, so first and foremost, we have a site. There's a few ways that you can do this. You can either just do sort of the brute force. Alright, check my angles. Check all my angles and run in. Maybe throw some flashes. Maybe just go pop flash. Or something like that. That's not a very good pop flash. So you can do that. Put a couple through palace and just rush through, hoping you can catch them off guard. But the safer bet is to use, of course, some smokes. So the first smoke I am going to show you, I also have a video on this. But for those that are uninitiated, the first smoke will smoke off CT. Place yourself in the middle of this little door thingy here. Line it up with the corner of this. Jump and throw. And that should, if I didn't screw it up, land in CT. It's a little bit deep. A little bit more deep than I would like. I actually did screw it up, but the idea is it will smoke off CT. Let's see if I can actually do that a little bit better. I think it's actually this corner right here.
I'm throwing smoke.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better. There we go. So do that one, not the one I did the first time. So that'll smoke off CT. And then you want to smoke off jungle, because again, there's a player there most of the time. What you can do, line up with this pillar here. Come up to the corner of this. Bring it out a little bit. And then just throw it. If you do it right and don't screw it up like I do half the time, it should bounce pretty perfectly and cover... what is this called? Dummy. You guys know what I'm talking about, jungle. There is a way you can actually smoke it. Both connector and jungle. Is it this one? No. If you do it a little bit more properly, you can actually a little bit lower.
Smoke.
Let's see. There we go. It should bounce there. There we go. Just gotta be a little bit lower if you want to do both, and that's probably the preferred smoke. So you have that smoked off, and you have this smoked off. The next step is to have your other teammates flash over.
Flashbang.
Should bounce and pretty much blind everybody on site, and then you only have to worry about anybody playing on these boxes. Under here, or in sandwich, or in stairs. And sometimes, something I actually like to do myself, you'll see a player coming up on top of here. Gives them a good amount of cover to take that out. And they can fall back like that, so you gotta be careful of that. But once that's smoked off, you're pretty good to push in. You usually want to have like 3 people pushing through T-ramp here and 2 pushing through Palace. You want the guys on Palace to be watching your E-stairs here, your stairs. Because if you're pushing out, they can see your heads before you can really see them too well. So you definitely want the people pushing Palace to push at the same time as you to clear this, and anybody pushing out of the smoke here. And then there. So you gotta kind of rely on your teammates. You gotta be a little bit coordinated. And of course, you gotta check for the guy here if you're not able to do it yourself. Besides that, what you can do... can I remember my own smoke is a question. You can go through mid to A. Oh, I don't remember my own smoke, guys. Let's see. You do want to smoke off window. Come to this last pillar here. It's been a while. Is it this one or is it... Oh no, it's the middle here. There we go. Bring up to this X. You bring it up. Let's see if I can't screw this up. Throw it, and that should land in window if I didn't screw it up. Yeah, aw, just missed. But something like that, you can smoke off window. Try not to screw it up like I'm doing. You want to smoke off window, and if you can, you want to smoke off cat. Once window's smoked off, though, you can, if you don't know a smoke from spawn, you can just kind of go like this. It'll smoke it off fairly well. You know? And then you can just kind of come through mid here. You gotta be careful if any CT's getting ballsy and pushing through there, or kind of pushed out through here. You gotta check this angle, check that angle, check that angle, and of course anybody playing on site here. And then you can push through mid. It's a good idea to not have all 5 players come through mid. Why do I have the bomb? Yeah, you don't want all 5 players to come through mid. Maybe 3 or 4, and have... I just threw my AK, but have a support player either come through here just to kind of check these angles behind the boxes while you're pushing through there. And then maybe 1 through there. So 3 through mid, 1 through Palace, 1 through here. You kind of want to delay it, these 2 guys here, and in Palace, until the 3 players rotate through there, so that you can kind of attack them from all angles. You want to make it so that they can't just pick you off at one at a time. Where's my AK? I have no idea. Doesn't matter, I guess, but here it is. But you just want to make it so, you know, they gotta be wary of you pushing through here. They gotta watch both Palace, T-ramp, and stairs, you know? They can't really, realistically, unless they have 3 players, watching 1 angle each, which, you know, it should be, but not always. They can't realistically cover every single angle by themselves, so they gotta be really quite coordinated to watch all of these. You know, they gotta get this player to push here, that player to pick there, and then their jungle player to hold off the 3 pushed here. So it's a pretty decent strategy, but that's a pretty basic way to take A site. Now on to B site. Yeah, let's do the cat method. Again, you want to smoke off window. That's probably not even going to land him. Oh, yeah, it did. You want to smoke off window. Want to make sure nobody's going to be picking through there. And once that's done, you want to try and get this smoke to land on the first step here so that it blocks off the entire thing. You can try and just do it like this. Let's see. Try and do it like that, but as you can see, it's a little bit difficult to do because of the way it bounces. CTs can see over it. Or if you would like to, without exposing yourself, come over to this corner here and T-spawn. Put your crosshair in the middle of the rug here. Pull back, and you gotta time it pretty much perfectly. You gotta jump and throw it right at the peak of your throw. If I do it right, it should land right in there. Not perfect, but again, you can throw it like that. It'll block off anybody playing there. And then, of course, that should still be smoked. And you gotta check here, and check here for any CTs. And then you can push out. Be careful of anybody playing bench, anybody playing in apartments. Here, 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 in there, and there. Just kind of clear the site. What you can actually do from cat is you can throw this smoke, maybe, and I'll cover you from there for a decent while you're clearing these other angles. or if you'd like, you can kind of just throw it a little bit better so that covers it a little bit more. And then you can kind of come out, clear these angles, and then you can clear it like that. Okay, so the other method of taking B is simply through apartments, and this one's a little bit tougher because it's a pretty narrow passageway and you have a lot of angles to check. You have to come through, check here, check cat, sometimes even underneath window. You gotta check site, check van first of all, but then check bench, continue to check site, and again check cat in case he's hiding way over there. You gotta check below you. Make sure nobody's coming market. So it's a little bit tougher, but you can do a few things. And they actually raised the skybox here on B site. So some of the smokes that I used to know, for instance, used to be able to just kind of go like this. Throw it up there, it would bounce off the skybox. But as you see, now there's no skybox. Instead, it's still useful though, because it lands right there and it blocks off anybody playing market. So you can throw it like that. Again, you just stands like right in the middle of the door here. Aim at these wires, like in the middle of them, throw it right up, and it'll go over, and should land... Oh, wait. It does work! I don't know what I'm doing anymore, but... Hey, I guess it worked. But yeah, you just come up to the middle of this door, come up to these wires, the bottom wire. Should do that. There we go. Should land right around there, and again, it blocks off anybody playing window. So you can come through a little bit easier here. And they won't be able to see you unless you're spamming through the smoke, which they can do. And as you're coming through, you can throw a pop flash like that. It'll blind anybody playing on cat. And of course, you gotta check your angles. Don't just kind of run in like this. I mean, first off, check if anybody's playing van. And then check cat. Sometimes if you do it right, you can actually throw smoke off the window right there. And it's not a great smoke, but it does help block off anybody playing cat a little bit. I mean, they can still see you pretty easily, but their vision is going to be significantly worse, and they can't even see you pushing out onto the platform there. But I mean, it's not, again, it's not amazing. I wish the smoke worked more consistently. I mean, I used to be able to come up here. Maybe it's just the top wire? Yeah, there we go. It drops down. Yeah, there we go. Hey, it works. You can throw a smoke like that, it'll block off anybody playing cat. You know, they can be playing right here and still see you pushing out a little bit, but other than that, they're going to have to come out to see you, and they're going to expose themselves. So you can throw those two smokes to help yourself. You know, that should be blocked off. You just got to check van, site, here. And then as you come down, if nobody's in those locations, again, check cat, and then check market. And a lot of times you'll see somebody planting here if they're coming through apartments, and they'll just plant right here. But again, those are some fairly basic strats for taking both sites. There's a couple ways to do it on both things. Both ways. But again, come here. Aim at the bottom wire, I guess.
Smoke.
And it should smoke off that window. Aim a little above the top wire. Should bounce off the skybox. Hey. Yeah, there's a couple good, decent smokes. Smoking off those areas. And then you can just take it somewhat easily. B site, I don't like taking it. It's pretty difficult a lot of times, but you know, it is what it is. Gotta check your angles for most of these things, but there's some very basic strats for taking both sites as a terrorist. And now let's just jump into defending the sites. I'm gonna start with B here as a CT. Since we're already here, pretend I don't have an AK. First thing I like to do, this is how I play Mirage B site myself. First thing I'll do is I'll come through here. I'll wait like 2 seconds, and then I'll throw a smoke into the window here. And what that's going to do is going to prevent any terrorists from really pushing through. No, I got caught in the lamp. Don't get it caught on the lamp. Do as I say, not as I do. But I'll throw it through the window here. There we go. That's significantly better. And I can't see anything. So it's effective. But yeah, it'll prevent the terrorists from pushing through here. We'll make them hesitant, at least. And then if I do hear them, right as the smoke is about to sort of dissipate, I'll throw a flash through there. Assuming my partner isn't playing on van. And then I'll play right here. I can get a good vision of cat. And then if they are coming cat, I can fall back to here to help out my teammate. I can hold that angle or hold this angle. And then if my teammate is playing like bench or something, holding apartments from here, they can just sort of duck behind here. So I'll usually myself, I'll play right here. Either right here or right here after I smoke that. And the reason I play here is because I'm sort of the support player generally, and that gives me the option to rotate rather quickly to A, while my teammate will sort of sit and hold the fort here at B in case they do decide to sort of fake it, I guess. You never want to rotate fully until you actually see the bomb. If it seems like it's going to be an A take and you think your team needs support, by all means send one player over there. But until you see that bomb, for sure, you don't want to rotate all your players. You don't want to put all your eggs into one basket, so to speak. So just keep that in mind. But once that is smoked off, again, I'll just hold here. Or if the player that is playing window, yes, you want to have a player at least watching cat. You don't have to have them watching mid, necessarily. If they are playing cat and they say, hey, they're coming cat, what I'll do is I'll throw one right off that light. It should bounce and land like right there. And it's going to make it a little bit more hesitant for them to push through here. They're not going to be like, oh, I'm dead. Because again, look how far I have to come out through the smoke to be able to see. Like right here, look how far out of the smoke I am. Then again, if I hear them coming, what I can do is just go whoop, through a flashbang off there, or just go whoop, do that and then fall back either into here or back where I showed you before. And again, my support player, or the player supporting me, will either play here or on van. Sometimes they'll even just play straight up on cat. They'll play down here. Sometimes they will just play like underneath window here, so they can kind of just spray them down. Or they'll play on cat. But that's pretty much the gist of it. That's how we hold B for the most part. Again, sometimes my little partner here will be playing up here. Mostly on pistol rounds. Had to cough. But mostly on pistol rounds is where they'll hide here, because you don't want to risk just losing your gun instantly if they do happen to turn. But sometimes they will play up here. Important thing is to set up a crossfire, you know, so they're pretty much guaranteed to trade at least 2 for 2. But that's pretty much how I play B myself. You can also, just, again, play from cat. You can throw a smoke. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, there we go. Throw a smoke right off there. Got stuck underneath the lamp again. Damn it. Gotta be careful of that tricky lamp, but you can also do that. And they can throw a flashbang. Should pop fairly easily, or even off that window. There you go. And again, the advantage of having a player playing on catwalk is they can watch mid, like connector to A. So it's a pretty good idea to have one player here. If you're not going to play where I play, you don't have to, obviously. I'm not going to have a player playing there. Definitely have them play cat, so they can watch it from here, if there's nobody, especially if there's nobody playing window. So that's just basically how I tend to hold Mirage B site. On A site, usually there is a player, come on, get through there, playing window. If they don't have an op or something, they'll usually play right here, just watching cat, listening for underpass. And then they'll kind of just go through here, pick them, watch that. And then they can easily rotate to either side. They can come all the way to B. Or they can just hold here, watch Palace, watch over here, watch site, and then here. Or a player can play here. A lot of times you'll have one here, one up on top of here, and then one on site. I usually play on site myself. What I'll do is I'll, first thing, because it's pretty quick rush for terrorists, I'll throw a smoke into the T-ramp, so I'll just go, whoop. I'll do that, and then I'll just hold right here. I'll just sit right here, and if I see him coming through the smoke and killing me pretty easily, I can fall back to CT. Defend from here, so I get into some heavy stuff. Excuse me. I'm dying, I think. Coughing a lot. But yeah, the advantage of this is you can watch cat, support them from coming cat. You gotta be careful. If nobody's playing there, you want to be able to, you know, cover your ass. You don't want to be too exposed. So I tend to play either here or again, sometimes up here after that smoke is down. Sometimes I'll throw that smoke and then I'll sort of run, and then I'll walk right here, and then I'll creep up a lot of times you can catch a player off guard while they're pushing through. You can just go boom, spray them down while they're coming through. And then once that smoke is down,
Smoke.
we'll usually have a second player. I'm bad at this, is why I don't do it, but
I'm throwing smoke.
throw a smoke. Oh, I fucked it up. Well, they'll throw a smoke into Palace. Whether that's the guy playing stairs, you know, they come around here, and then they just kind of go, oh, throw it right up there. But you just want to use those to hold back the pushing terrorists as long as you can. And then once those smokes dissipate, of course, what I like to do, especially if my supporting players playing down there, is I'll throw a flash off that wall as they push, and it'll flash anybody pushing right here. But you want to make sure you're not blinding your teammate. You know, if it explodes right there, you want to make sure your teammate isn't like standing up here, because then you pretty much fuck them over. Basically, you want to make sure they're sitting down here before you do that. Or if they die, that's a good thing to do. You can just go again, just go boop. Once it goes off, you can peek. That was pretty bad, actually. Let's try that again.
Flashback.
Pops right there, and there you go. Or alternatively, if you're being a cheeky bastard playing right here, just pop it like that. Pops right about there. And again, you can kind of like play with angles. Just hop into a server and play with different pop flashes. That was a pretty bad one, but if you know they're going to be pushing past you, you can go like that, throw it behind you. That should pretty much blind them, and then you can just spray them down as they push. But again, very basic methods at holding both sites and taking both sites. I mean, they're not going to be MLG strats, but they're pretty basic strats that you'll see people using a lot. And again, the main thing is just make use of your smokes, you know? Make sure all things are smoked where terrorists might be pushing from. And again, make use of your flashes. Even if you're playing here, you can pop one off there. It'll pop like right there. Not the best, but hey, if they're pushed out like this, that's gonna blind them. And again, if you're playing here with an op, you can stand right here, spot a terrorist, or watch them pushing out. And that's about it. I mean, again, very, very basic methods of holding the sites, but hey, they're methods that are pretty much tried and true. I mean, they're pretty successful for the most part. I mean, you're never going to be 100% successful with any strategy, excuse me, so I mean, it's basically comes down to individual play at that point. You know, how strong you are at holding those angles, at holding those rushes. You gotta not panic too much. But if you're holding them off for those few seconds and you're at least trading 1 for 1, or 2 for 2, or 3 for 3, then you're doing your job right, and you're setting up your rotating supporting players for a successful retake. And again, some very basic strats. But this is Mirage. Hopefully this helps some of you guys who are a little bit uneasy about playing Mirage. I know it's a pretty daunting map at first, especially as a terrorist, but again, I love this map. It's mostly balanced. I mean, again, it's probably like 60-40 in favor of CTs, maybe 70-30, I guess. 70-30 is a little bit of a stretch, but from my experience, it's somewhat balanced. You can expect to get like a maybe like a 9-6 scoreline, usually. Maybe a 10-5. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit, and see you next time.